and welcome back to my channel. Look a little bit of a mess right now, but that's not the point of this video. I had to take a little second to calm down before I got on here and started cussing, but I had to make a little part 2 to the video that I previously posted about Shanygne. If you guys haven't seen it, the brand is unfortunately shutting down, but this is like a part 2 because, baby, I'm telling you, Audacity must be on sale. But then again, let's go. Listen, I feel like my entire face is swollen right now, like eyes, nose. I feel like you can hear it in my nose. I don't know what's going on right now because I'm not an allergy type of person and we're in the middle of summer. But anyway, so like I said, if you guys did not see the last video or if you haven't heard, Shanygne, black-owned brand, is shutting down. They were available at Sephora. You know, they were kind of pushed as a black and brown friendly brand that's also like a clean beauty brand type of thing. And, you know, it came out in an article in The Cut that she was shutting her business down in September. And, you know, some of the things that she mentioned, just she wouldn't be able to sustain herself if the company continued on. Problems when it comes to being a black-owned brand and getting investments. And I've seen a lot of people in my video that I posted in the comments saying like the shelf space for them was not the same as like other brands. And that's true. Certain brands, obviously, you know, a Fenty Beauty brand is going to have a big shelf. I'm talking like this display shelf in the store. A big shelf. It's going to be clean. It's going to be kept up because that's a brand that people are going, like, people are coming into the store. Where's Fenty Beauty, right? Where's Rare Beauty? Where is Huda Beauty? I've noticed certain brands, the stand can be looking any type of way, and you would think like, okay, isn't that their job in the store to like keep it up? But let's call it what it is. Certain brands, with everything in life, certain things, people, and whatnot get catered to a little bit more than others. And also, well, you would have to be here for a good little minute, but if you guys remember years ago, NYX came out with a foundation drop or something like that, and I had made a video talking about it where they have all of these shades available, right? But you go in store and you only see like 12 shades, and 12 shades for, you know, lighter skin tone, stuff like that. So pointing that out, people started talking about it. People started contacting like NYX and Ulta, stuff like that. And it was kind of like a blame game on both sides. It was like, oh, well, you know, as a brand, we only send what Ulta's willing to take from us to put on the shelves. And then Ulta was like, oh, we only put out what the brand is willing to send to us. So there's definitely some politics on shelf space for brands, and I feel like both sides are always going to blame the other on why it may not be as inclusive, why it may not be this, that, and the third. But those are things that were mentioned about Shanygne shutting down, right? So I am scrolling, and see, it be at TikTok. I am scrolling, and I see that a business owner has written an open letter to the owner of Shanygne on LinkedIn, which, mind you, at this point in 2025, LinkedIn is just the corporate Facebook. Like, I literally see people talking about I had to take my phone number off LinkedIn because people were using it as a dating site. But he wrote an open letter to her on LinkedIn, basically telling her everywhere that she went wrong. So some of this is blocked out because I am reading it off of because I'm not logging into LinkedIn for that. So I'm going to have to scoot around her face a little bit. But it says, an open letter to founder of Shanygne, Dear Diara? My apologies if I pronounced that incorrectly. I write this as a fellow founder in the beauty industry, not from a place of judgment, but of frustration, reflection, and concern over how the narrative around Shanygne is being shaped. At one point, you were the face of what the future of beauty could look like, a brand rooted in inclusivity, backed by respective investors, placed proudly on Sephora's shelves. You had momentum, capital, and distribution. Everything so many of us dream of. You... something that inspired countless black-owned businesses, mine included. Remember that. But this isn't a story about something. This is what happens when a brand doesn't evolve with the times. The truth is, Shanygne positioned itself too narrowly. You built something beautiful, but ultimately exclusive to a sliver of the market. As founders, we must acknowledge when our TAM is too small to support long-term growth, especially in a $100 billion global industry. You had every strategic advantage, yet brands like Jones Road Beauty, with arguably a larger hill to climb, have quietly become nine-figure businesses. Their formula: radical inclusivity, obsessive customer acquisition, relentless retention. They stayed curious, they adapted, they invited everyone in. That's what makes the coverage of Amikole's closure frustrating. Not because the business struggled, startups are hard, but because the blame is being misdirected towards something, explanations, investors, and retailers. Basically saying that the blame is being placed on investors, retailers, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. The reality is the brand lost its... That's not Sephora's fault. It's not the investor's fault. It's not the consumer's fault. And it's certainly not the result of market pressures in this case. It's about burnout. It's about brand focus. It's about leadership. As a co-founder of a Black-owned business, I feel the collateral damage when a well-backed brand like yours falters and the public narrative chalks it up to injustice. It becomes harder for brands like mine to raise capital, even when we're building differently. It reinforces the idea that we are risky bets when the real risk lies in failing to build scalable, adaptable, inclusive brands. I don't pretend to know the something battles you face, but I do know this: we are doing our community a disservice when something responsibility for our outcome, blah, blah, blah. There's still a space for your voice, your talent, and blah, 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 blah. The next chapter includes more accountability, more transparency, and a willingness to learn from what didn't work. With respect, a fellow founder, whatever his name is. First of all, bringing up Jones Road Beauty, do you mean the Jones Road Beauty that's owned by Bobby Brown? First, what? If you guys did not know that, Jones Road Beauty was started by Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown sold Bobby Brown, the cosmetics company, and then I think she had to wait like 9 or 10 years, something like that, before she could start another company. So once that contract, she had done the 9-10 years, no new business, she started Jones Road Beauty. So stop right there. What uphill battle do you have to face being Bobby Brown starting a new company? You have already shown that you can create a company and it become a legacy brand like Bobby Brown that is still around today, that people still have. It is a legacy brand at this point. And even when she started Bobby Brown, the cosmetics company, she had money being invested into her, I believe, by her husband. So what uphill battles did you have to... That's like saying, you know, someone like a Rihanna starting a makeup company, Rihanna would be facing the same type of battles as the girl who is starting her lip gloss company out of her garage. The fact that your Rihanna was already going to put your brand here and the girl selling the lip gloss out of her garage is here because no one knows the girl selling lip gloss in her garage. A lot of people know Rihanna and they're going to want to buy it just because it's Rihanna. So let's start there with that comparison that you made. If you haven't looked at some of the products that Jones Road Beauty has, and see, now they have to catch a stray because you wanted to include them. What are they doing that actually is that different from Bobby Brown? And two, is that just innovative and inclusive from everything else on the market? That they just made sure they stayed with retention and... Next up, you'll recall Buddy mentioned a couple times being a co-founder of a Black-owned brand. So I looked up the brand and I need y'all to understand. So the brand is Apostle and these are the owners. This is the Black owner. This is the owner who made the LinkedIn post. This is the owner that made the LinkedIn post. You see what he's not? Black. So you are a co-founder to a half Black-owned business. So just right there, trying to tell her anything. Just like I said, it's not the same for Rihanna starting a company as opposed to the girl in her garage. It's not the same that you're a half-owned Black-owned company compared to a fully Black-owned. Do you see how? Okay. So you throwing that in there isn't going to make your experience any similar to hers because you're not. Okay. So, but you know what the actual kicker is here? Do you know what their company is? It's a company for makeup for men. You are writing an open letter to her telling her that where she went wrong is she made herself too inclusive to a sliver of the market and she was too narrow with her target audience, you're selling makeup to men. And the irony here is the misogyny that you're displaying with this open letter is the same exact misogyny that will stop men from using your products, because once men hear makeup for men, they don't want it anymore. We've seen a couple throughout the years. There's one, I don't remember the name of the brand, but it was like black packaging, and they tried so hard to make it manly, right? They called it like face paint instead of calling it foundation. Why? Because of misogyny. Because once you tell men makeup, men, here's the thing, men wear makeup all the time, especially in the industry, stuff like that. Like when you see your faves in interviews, in movies and stuff like that, they are wearing makeup. But once you tell the average man, oh, it's a company for makeup, they automatically think Santana. And the thing is, they be going so hard to market it in a way that those type of men will be interested in it, that they then turn around and market in a way that the men who would be interested in it they don't feel included there, because you're trying so hard to make it manly, right? It's face paint, it's not foundation. This is hard gel for your nails, it keeps your nails healthy. So then the men who probably are interested in wearing makeup, in products like that, skincare, all of that stuff, they're going to go where the advertising is more inviting, more not that. So I'm trying to understand like where the thought process is coming through here, telling her that she is too narrow for them, that they weren't inclusive enough. They didn't, broaden their horizons once they started, putting a name for themselves out there. And it's pretty much what you're trying to say is they stuck too hard to being for Black and brown women, and they didn't appease all the other people. And that's what we be talking about. Tell people, if you don't like it, if you don't like not being included, go make your own. And then when you go make your own and make your own the target audience and the focus of your company, when it doesn't work out, that's also your fault. That, oh, well, no one told you to make it just for your people. You should have included other people too. But when they told other brands to include other people too, y'all told them to go make their own. Okay. Now, I responded in the comment section of this video because someone was in the comments like, well, did he lie? Did he lie? Y'all just don't like the messenger, but it was true. Da-da-da-da. Now, I feel like I have said this several times in the last few weeks that two things can be true at once. I highly doubt that the Ami Collet owner believes that everything that happened is everyone else's fault and she didn't have any fault anywhere. Da-da-da-da-da. However, what we're not going to do is play in Black women's faces and act like being a Black-owned brand, woman-owned, is the same as, and you're going to face the same hurdles as other beauty brands. That's what we're not going to do. And again, for you to not be Black and you to not be a woman, writing an open letter telling her where she needs to take accountability. And the person I was talking to in the comments, I said, she was like, oh, he was just trying to help. I was like, he wasn't trying to help. That's envy. That entire open letter was envy. Because how about you get what she's gotten before you try to tell her about her business? How about that business, that co-founded Black-owned business that you have? How about you get it where she's gotten before trying to tell her any of that? So looking into it, his brand, Apostle, was part of Ulta Beauty's accelerator program. So I've seen a couple of these programs before. I know Danessa Myricks has one, but basically there are these programs. Who is it? Tower 28? I saw another company start one recently, but basically there are these programs meant for smaller businesses where they get like these weeks, like 10 weeks, 12 weeks, however long, of education from, more established brands, where they get more information on how to, sustain your business, just a bunch of like business knowledge, right? And then after the program, I believe they get a chance to like pitch to Ulta for their brands to be in Ulta. So looking into Apostle, because you better be a Jones Road Beauty, be writing me an open letter about anything. After looking into it, I looked at their TikTok, they got about 80 followers. I look at their Instagram, they got about 1,800 followers, somewhere around there. I don't see it available at Ulta. It's not available at Sephora. So yeah, so that little part about it makes it so frustrating, so hard for brands like mine, because when you react act like this, it makes it risky business for brands to want to invest in mine. How you mad from outside the club? You can't even get in. That's what you're mad about. That's what this open letter is mad about. You are mad that she got a whole bunch of opportunities and things that you want that you haven't gotten. And instead of figuring out, because let's use your logic, accountability, why haven't you been able to do that? Instead of trying to figure that out, you're mad because she had what you wanted and she squandered it in your eyes. That's what this is really about. Because she had it and she squandered it, but there are other brands who have it and they didn't, and they're still prospering. Now, this brand launched in 2023. It's 2025. She was open for 5 years. So you're about halfway from her time span of how long this brand has been going on. So why haven't you, what have you done? Why aren't you in Sephora? Why aren't you in Ulta? It's another brand's fault. It's another brand's fault that investors don't want to invest in you. It's another brand's fault that you're not getting that don't sound right. That doesn't sound like someone taking accountability. Why is your social media presence non-existent? You have the account. You made the account. So I would assume that was because you intended on using that to build your presence of people knowing your brand and people having a play, just like every other brand that's on social media, right? You've had it. The pages have been up for at least 2 years. How long you've been open? Why is that all that you have to show for it? I fear we're worried about the wrong things. We're telling people where they went wrong with their company. Where are you going with yours? That's the question. Like I said, Audacity must be on sale. And I'm talking buy one, get one for free type sale. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to thumbs up, comment, subscribe, turn notification bells down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.